Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio. Can you believe it? Election day is finally just 2 days away, and a number of races in the state couldn't be tighter. That's true especially at the top of the ticket in the race for governor. Differing polls out this week show both Richard Cordray and Mike DeWine both with leads, neither with gaps, though, larger than the margin of error. Now, 8 years ago, when Governor John Kasich took office, he faced a nearly $8 billion budget deficit, so he knew the challenge ahead of him. So I wanted to ask both men running for governor what they see as the challenge facing the next governor.
You know, I think we've come a long way in the last 8 years. 8 years ago, we had 12% unemployment or so. We'd lost a lot of jobs. We've come a long way. Our goal is to take us to the next level. If you look at the challenges, I think there are a couple. One is a skills gap, or not matching skills with people, and we've got to do a better job in regard to that. I think a component part of that is early childhood development. We're going to really invest in early childhood development, particularly among our poorest of our children. The other big problem is the drug problem. We have a lot of people who frankly cannot be employed or grossly underemployed because they can't pass a drug test, they can't take care of their family. Just a huge tragedy. So we have a 12-point plan that we will implement as soon as I take office. But those are really the big challenges, I think.
What do you see as the challenges facing the next governor?
I think that we have a lot to do to spread out opportunity more fairly across the state. I also think that protecting and supporting health care, which is very much in the minds of Ohioans these days, is a key difference in this race between myself and Mike DeWine. I'm supporting a plan that would reduce health care costs for Ohioans and provide more reliable coverage. He, of course, his signal act of being Attorney General was to try to take away protection for people with pre-existing conditions and try to wipe out the Medicaid expansion around the country. Fortunately, he failed in that effort, but if he'd had his way, nobody in Ohio with pre-existing conditions would have any certainty about their insurance coverage, and we would not have Medicaid expansion in this state.
Can you state unequivocally that you would work to maintain what has been the Medicaid expansion?
We will keep Medicaid expansion. We want to make it sustainable in case, for example, the federal government decides instead of paying 90+%, that they're going to drop that down to a much lower figure. We want to do everything that we can to prepare for that day if that day ever comes.
He resents attacks that because he challenged the legality of parts of the ACA, he'd be against protecting people with pre-existing conditions. 7
different times I voted when I was in the United States Congress in favor of covering pre-existing illness.
But look, his comments on that don't pass a straight face test because actions speak louder than words. He says he's for it, but when he had actions to take, he acted against it. He tried to wipe it out. There's still a lawsuit about pre-existing conditions in federal court in Texas. He could join it and protect pre-existing conditions, but he refuses to do so. So to say you're going to do one thing, but have the chance to actually do something about it and fail to do so, I think tells people exactly what they need to know.
Well, the key in this election, or any election, is enthusiasm. Whose base is fired up most? The best indicator of that at this point is early voting. Cuyahoga County has always been a state leader in early voting. The numbers are way up over the 2014 midterms. How much? Well, as of Friday morning, tried by 24% overall. Republicans are up 19% over 4 years ago. Independents, the county's largest voting bloc, more than doubling the number they put up in 2014. Democrats, however, still below by 4% of that 2014 total. Your local Board of Elections will be open today for early voting. This is the only Sunday for in-person early vote. The hours are from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. Also, if you've requested and received a vote by mail ballot, remember, you got to send it back, either by dropping it off at your local Board of Elections office. At most, you can simply do that in the parking lot in a mailbox type setup. If you're going to mail it, though, know that it has to be postmarked by Monday, November 5th in order to be counted. And early voting ends in the state tomorrow at 2 p.m. Well, probably one of the greatest benefits come Wednesday will be a return to the airways of car commercials promoting end-of-the-year closeouts or mattress sales, all replacing those political ads that have now reached a point of high negativity. Each campaign season starts with ads timid enough, the positive get-to-know-me spots telling the backstory of a baby-kissing politician who loves his country, is kind to puppies, and calls his mother. They are, of course, followed by the opponent's ads, which paint the same person as an out-and-out menace to society, a threat to our very way of life. The noise from these ads can at times be overwhelming, and the voters who tend to tune them out are often likely to check out.
What it tends to do is on both sides, and particularly for independents, drive them out of deciding to vote because they get so disenchanted with what they see. They just say, a pox on both your houses, I'm not interested in voting.
The good news, besides the fact that the election is almost over, is the fact that you've likely seen the worst of it.
I think right now it's just a constant repetition, which then further has the effect of continuing to drive people out. So you're not going to see any new messaging unless there's something dramatic that happens in the last few days of a campaign.
What you are likely to see are friendly faces at the door this weekend.
Our studies continue to show the single most effective tactic is face-to-face interaction. It's all old school.
You know what's also old school? Voting. Polls open Tuesday morning at 6:30. We'll have you covered on Good Morning Cleveland and throughout the day on our News 5 app. And when the polls close at 7:30, you will get the results first on air and online here on News 5. We've got a team of reporters spread throughout the state, and we will have the most comprehensive coverage of the 2018 midterm elections. With Democracy 2018, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday.